Hey everyone, hopefully everyone's doing great. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Keeping It Positive. This is episode number 10, which is pretty crazy to me. Uh, it seems like it's flying by. It seems like we did the first episode with Joey just last week, but it's been so much fun. I know I probably say this every episode, but every guest has been amazing, and hopefully we can keep this rolling. And this episode. We featured Barette. I got to meet him through the store, and he became a very very dear friend of mine. His story, his perspective, his attitude towards life, truly incredible. Is what we will touch on the podcast, but just an amazing human being with such a big heart, and even though he has challenges, he's fighting the battle of cancer right now, stage four. Doctors call him a walking miracle, but his attitude is so positive and so contagious in the best way possible that he'll overcome this, and just the way he lives life is inspirational to me. It's very admirable, and the way he carries himself is second to none. And I think um, all of us can learn a little bit about him. And we talk a lot about so many different things, but what I really pull out of him whenever I see him is um, no matter what you're going through, you can always be in a good mood, and you can always be your best self, and you can always live life to the fullest, squeeze every moment out of life as possible because we don't know what's going to happen, and that's what he lives every single day. Is he lives life to the fullest, no matter how he feels. He always gives his best effort. He always tries to show up the best he can, and for his loved ones, for his family, for his friends, and it's pretty great. So um, yeah, I don't want to talk too much because this episode is really enlightening. We talk a lot about his career, what he's going through now, his perspective on things, and it's a really awesome episode. So an episode I really enjoyed recording, and hopefully you guys love listening to it. So without further ado, episode number 10, the Barette. So we are officially recording. Thanks, Rob, for doing this.
Hey,
This
no
is
problem.
gonna be awesome. When I thought of doing this project, you're one of the first ones that I wanted to do this with. And episode number 10 already, and
Holy
we've
geez.
had 9 amazing guests, and you're lucky number 10.
Hey,
So,
that's okay. That's awesome.
yeah, it's like I always say on the podcast, this is all about promoting good people and putting people on the pedestal that they deserve. And since day one that I met you, we became really good friends, and I'm
Yeah.
very fortunate to have you in my life. And I think we're gonna have such a great conversation. It's probably gonna go a little bit everywhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is
And you
gonna
know
be
what?
awesome.
What you were saying goes in reverse for you also. It wasn't for you. Some days is harder than others, and you were there for me. So I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad the feeling is mutual, and that's
Absolutely.
what friendship is, right? You lift
Yeah.
each other up, and we're
Yeah.
always there for one another, and
Yeah.
it's very special.
Oh, it's you know, you spend your life getting to know all kinds of people and acquaintances and all kinds of stuff. But when you meet somebody that really matters and that really sticks to you, and that happens to be you. So
I appreciate that. Likewise.
like Velcro.
Yeah. we're
Um,
we're each a piece of Velcro, and then we stick together.
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. But yeah, I wanted to like there's so many ways that I wanted to kind of start this because you're a man of you've lived many different lives in one. I feel like, and
Yeah,
your career path has changed so much, and you've done so much in your short period of time. And yeah, I just want I want to maybe touch on that a little bit,
sure.
and your career path and because when we first met and we first became friends, and then one day I thought you were a veteran, the next day a police officer, the next day you were a fighter, the next, and and a paramedic, and all like so on and so forth, all in one, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Well, I mean, I started working, I was 12 years old. And I mean, everybody knows this everywhere. Mr. Prime Ribs is. I worked for George. It was awesome. I started at 12, busboy, cleaned dishes in the kitchen, did a whole bunch of jobs while I was young. And then I ended up applying for the military. Um, they weren't very happy with all my jobs because they had to go back and do uh, reference checks with every one of them. So it was pretty interesting. So they weren't too happy, but hey, that was part of life at that time. Um, Joined the military, um, spent some time pretty much in all the bases, like Kingston, Petawawa, Valcartier. Lived in Valcartier for about 5 years, and then did some tours. Did a tour in Yugoslavia. Went to Montreal for the ice storm. Did all kinds of other things. Um, I think a lot of the learning experience that I've had in my life were really derived from the military. I learned what working in a family environment was, having people watch your back and be there for you. It was awesome. I learned so much from so many people that were in the military, um, that I I would have loved to continue, but there was an incident where um, my partner was electrocuted and so was I, and I just I couldn't keep going in the military. I needed to change my path a little bit, but stay in the same type of field where I was available to help others and make a difference. And I think that's the main important thing. But then I jumped into policing, and that was interesting. I spent 2 years in Hamilton, and then I moved to Timmins and did a whole bunch of years there. Had tons of fun, helped the community, had great partners, and that always pushed me to strive for more. When I was in the military, I wasn't only in the military. I mean, I was a volunteer fireman in Shannon with some friends. We were volunteer first responders, so paramedics more or less, to help out to make sure that we were there prior to the ambulance showing up. Um, we ran a scuba diving club. Like I mean, I can tell you it was a lot of fun. And two of my best friends, Martin and Pascal, I mean, they were with me all the time, and our families kind of stuck together and went everywhere together. So it was really nice to have that. Um, Policing in Hamilton was very similar, and then policing in Timmins was also the same. So it was a nice feeling that I didn't want to get rid of, and I
Mhm.
wanted to keep that with me throughout my other careers. So it was nice. It was just always family oriented, and all the families were always close because I mean we're watching each other's back during the day, but at night, when we were together, it was it was nice to have somebody that you knew you can trust, and I think that was the main thing. Um, went
Yeah.
to Go ahead.
And when you say trust, I think that's so you're such a trustworthy person, right? And when it
Yeah,
comes to like the military and the police and firefighting and or volunteer firefighting and being a paramedic, there's always a common trend is like helping others
yeah.
first, right? And making sure everyone is okay. And that that's you in a nutshell. And being able to be of service to others and help as many people as possible and putting yourself last instead of first, right? Which is, I think it describes you in the perfect way.
And I think too is the respect that I have for every individual. All my careers, I had respect with who I dealt with. Everybody has their reasons behind doing certain things, and policing, people chose a certain path. In the military, they chose a certain path, and we were there to help. And I think that's the biggest thing is keep that respect really high and keep the positivity going. You can always find something positive and a negative, I can tell you.
Oh,
So
for sure.
you see a lot of things in your careers and in your life, and always remember, you got to go back and pull out a positive, even if the situation is really negative. You got to dig down real deep and find that. And I think that's important.
And through like your experiences, like I think that's so important, right? Respecting others and treating people the way you want to be treated as well, right? And I
Oh,
think
absolutely.
that goes such a long way. And I think what you just said too is, yeah, there's always a positive out of every negative situation or every hard situation. There's always something positive to get out of it. Is that something that has helped you through like the
Oh,
trauma through the military, or the stuff
oh
that
yeah.
you dealt with in policing, and so on and so forth?
It's hard sometimes to dig real deep and find something positive about some of the incidents that you see and you live, but you have no choice, and that's what keeps you going and that keeps you fighting too, right? I mean, notwithstanding what's going on health wise, we'll go there through there later on,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's you have to dig. It's easy to say, oh, it's negative, it's negative, it's negative. Negativity takes over, and I think you have to go and dig for that positive to stop that cycle of the
Mhm.
negative keep going. So just reaching out and finding something positive um, in a situation is really important. And I think that's that throughout all my careers. And that was one of my commanders that basically had that discussion with me and said, life is not fair and you're going to see things and go through things that you might not be able to handle right away, or you might not be able to handle in the future. But I said, ultimately, you have to be able to pull something positive out of it so that you can at least push harder and get through it. And I think that was a very good learning lesson.
And I think that's what it's all about, right? Not every moment is going to be perfect, and you're going to live through some things, and even the worst situation. I remember you were telling me you were doing an assignment in the military, and it was horrible conditions, and everyone was mad, but your sergeant or your supervisor turned it into more of a positive light, which is pretty amazing to do.
Yeah, it's a learning experience, and I think we get blindsided. We think the negative, and we just kind of narrow the path down. And
Mhm.
then suddenly, when you pull something positive out of it, even though it's a negative situation, but we're able to lay somebody to rest, with respect, or do something for a community with respect, or you tend to do things. Your brain works in a certain way, and the first thing your brain wants to do is negative, negative, negative. But
Mhm.
if you pull the positive out, then it changes the outcome, and you get a lot more. Um, you get to push yourself a lot harder to be able to accomplish that and give people the same feeling and explain it. And I think that's the biggest thing.
And I think like being able to utilize that to reach your full potential, right? And
Yeah,
I think you utilizing those little tricks to get the best out of you, no matter what you can. And I think that it's super important to be able to do that, right?
yeah,
And I
and
when I was writing these questions for this interview, I had a question in regards to like, with all your career paths that you've done,
yeah,
military being one of the foundations of it. Like,
yeah.
and how do you think the military has like helped you, like where you who you are today, but throughout your other careers, even with being like the superintendent for security in the mines too? How did the military give you a foundation to be able to be successful in your other careers?
I think the military it was a very good foundation. When you're young and you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to accomplish this, you want to accomplish that, and at some point you say, okay, I got to do something. So join the military, and everybody kind of has that feeling, and then you get to learn about each other. you get to work with each other, you get to become friends, you get to become coworkers and people you can trust with your life. um, I think that's and of course the adrenaline rush, where you're involved in so many things, and sometimes you need that burst of energy, and it just gets you going, and you're there to help. You're there to do what you need to do. And I think that the military, the foundation I got from the military, I had an amazing upbringing, amazing parents. So the military was like an additional building blocks to my foundation that had already started pretty strong, right? So,
Mhm.
but it gave me a really good outlook that a lot of people don't see. They don't see what happens in other countries, and they don't see what people are going through, or just the ice storm. I'll give you an example. You're in an ice storm, no power, no nothing. People heating their houses with barbecues. People are sick. People are passing, and you gotta work through it. So I think the military showed me a really good foundation, and it gave me a good foundation in addition to my parents, which made me continue in that field throughout my careers, right? So I think that was extremely important. And I learned from everybody. So I mean, I'm not better than anybody else. I worked my way up the ranks and then worked my way into mining and up the chain. And but you know what? I'm not better than anybody else. I would always go back down and help out. And I mean, they're my coworkers. They're not my subordinates. So I think that's where I learned that from my parents. I learned that, I had to deviate a little bit because the military is pretty specific. Your rank is your rank and your respect is your respect, but that's where you learn to respect everyone,
Mhm.
not just the rank. You respect the person that you're dealing with, and the person that's commanding you, or the person that has more experience than you, and that's how your respect level goes from down here to up here, um, due to those reasons.
And I think if you carry those traits to your other work environments, like the respect factor, respect no everyone, no matter what, right? And you
Yeah.
were telling me a story one time where you were working your security job as a supervisor. And you were in the kitchen sometimes cooking
Oh
with
yeah.
some of your coworkers and just having fun and laughing and like
Absolutely.
you like your position, you were pretty high up, right? You don't need to
Yep.
do that, right? But like you just went over and above, and you got to know everyone no matter what position they were
Yep.
in.
Yeah. And it pushed myself to do the jobs before giving it to the guys. So, you know, nobody could say, "Hey, well, you don't know what we're doing." Well, yeah, I do. I'm the one who did. I am the one who basically got the job going, or I had, my partners to help me out, and then we wrote the SOP and got everything going, and then so there was never any arguments, and the respect was there, and we'd go and help out wherever we were needed. I think the biggest thing in my life is putting out fires. Not fireman side of things, but just putting out fires.
Yeah.
Fixing problems right away and trying to get through them. But it takes a toll on you though,
Oh, for sure.
because you're helping everybody and you forget about yourself. And I think that's an important lesson that, if I can pass something on tonight, is to make sure that people understand that if you need help, seek help. Don't be scared. Don't feel like your people are going to look down on you. Man, reach out to friends, reach out to family, reach out to psychologists, reach out to whatever avenue you need to get better. And I think that's the thing that, um, we don't realize, and we push it aside, and we just keep plugging away. Um, but we can't reach our full potential if you're not well, right?
Mhm.
So you really got to work on that.
So sometimes I get caught in that too. I work really hard and I get burnt out,
Yep.
and I want to do everything by myself, and I want to make sure everyone is okay. Like the
Yeah.
people that I love or the customers that come in, and it does get a lot. And
Yeah.
good reminders like that, like sometimes you gotta realize, like, if I don't take care of myself, then I
You
can't
can't
take
take
care of other
care
people.
of others. Yeah, exactly. And I
But
think that's the biggest thing, Ryan. I mean, you take care of yourself, you work, but you work hard. People that come to your store are received with the biggest smile. You're outgoing and you're there for people. And I think that's what makes what you do not only the brand, but who you represent as the brand. I think that's the important part. And for me, when I was battling cancer and still am, you've been an inspiration to me and a whole bunch of others, not just me, right? And I think you need to remember that you need to take care of yourself also. It's nice for you to take care of all of us and be there and positive, but we need you around for a long time, so you need to do the same thing, right?
I'll try my very, very best. But
Good, good.
the feeling is mutual, and the what you go through on a day to day basis, is pretty insane, and no one knows, right? And
Yeah.
I wanted to touch a little bit about this, and I didn't really know how to bring it up, to be honest. But you've been how long have you been battling cancer?
So I've been battling cancer since 2020. I was off work for post-traumatic stress, and I had taken some time off permanently to kind of get myself back on track. And I was starting to go back to work gradually, and then ended up getting cancer, prostate cancer. Um, and I'm still fighting it today. Everything was removed. It had spread drastically in about 3 weeks. So luckily we got everything done. It was during COVID, so it was even worse. And then the treatments, the radiation, the androgen deprivation therapy, and everything else. Cancer did come back. It's sitting in my lymph nodes. And it's we're just using trial drugs and pushing hard to get through it. Some days are bad and some days are good. Um,
Yeah.
I have a network of friends like you and a few other of my friends like Rick that also going through cancer and has demonstrated so much willpower to be around and to keep kicking and keep pushing. And a whole bunch of other friends that have cancer. So you get to meet people that are going through something similar to you, and you're having difficulty some days, and you reach out to them. They might be having a better day, so they give you a little bit of energy, and it's like a ping pong. Like you just keep getting ping pong, passing the energy around. So it's been tough, emotionally, mentally, physically. Physically, it's taken a massive, massive toll on some organs, but you just keep pushing, and you keep finding other solutions to kind of help out, so that you don't destroy, everything you have in your system that keeps you alive, right?
Mhm.
But
Well, it kind of circles back to when you were saying you're putting out fires, right? And there's a problem here, but you're putting out a fire, and then something else happens, and then you put out a, but like, from my perspective, knowing you for so long, like, I see it now that at the start I didn't really understand. But some days you're doing so well, and other days, or like maybe I don't hear from you for a week, and then I check in, and then I'm having a bad week, and there's one day it's like you look like you're totally like a 1,000%, like it
yeah,
fluctuates a lot, right? Like how, like, and I have so much admiration for you, no matter what you show up,
yeah,
no matter if you have zero energy or 100 energy. If you say you're going to be somewhere, you're usually there, and, and
yeah,
and I think it's such a good mentality to have. No matter how you're feeling, just try to show up and be the best version of yourself. You don't have to be 100% every day. You might be 15% one day, but give your 15%.
yeah,
Or you might be 200% one day, so give 200%. And I think, and I think that's so. That's a good perspective that everyone can live and learn by, right? Just to
yeah.
try to do your best no matter what, and squeeze out life as much as possible. And
Yeah.
the quote that the one thing that you told me once, and your doctor told you this, is like you're a walking miracle, and no one understands how that what you're doing, and
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. But I think for you, it's your perspective, your attitude, and like how like your positivity and how you want to live your life. And I think that's kind of what's been helping you get to as far as you have, and you still have many more years to go.
Oh, absolutely. But remember when I explained to you, Ryan, I said some days I don't feel good. I'm not in my I'm not there. And then I drive down and I go see you, or my wife brings me because I driving for me right now. It doesn't work very well. So she brings me down to see you, and you have energy. And I try to get energy from others also, because I've drained my energy, and my energy is sometimes really lacking, because of the disease. And that's for a lot of different sicknesses. There's no disease that's worse than another. People go through these hard times, and it's everybody has their battle. And
Mhm.
I think they got to turn their battle into a journey. And then from that journey, you become you have to advocate for yourself. You have to investigate and do some work, some legwork. Need to get your documentation in order. You need to make sure that things are in place, so that when you go see a doctor, you already have the answers to the questions you're going to ask him, and you're hoping he's going to give you the same answer, right?
Has
But
it
the
happened? Has it happened where you have your answers and then they give you different answers?
um, actually, I've been pretty blessed. They sometimes they don't have an answer, so they said we'll get back to you. So that to me is really important. Um, I've been, doctors have so many patients, but I think if you advocate for yourself and you're willing to do a bit of work to kind of help yourself, they're willing to help and push and be there for you as much as you need them. Um, it's people that, you don't want people giving up. But
No.
that's when me and you and the few other friends that has cancer that we talk to on a regular day, that's what we're there for, to help each other out. It's not a doctor that's going to do that for us and keep us together, right?
Mhm.
Or keep us going if we're down. It's for friends and family to help us out. And I've been blessed. I mean, my wife's absolutely phenomenal. She's my angel. And she's my rock. So for me, some days it's very, very difficult, and she's there. And it's just as difficult for her, because she's going through the same thing I'm going through. She just doesn't have the disease, but she has to live with my emotions. So it makes it very, very difficult. But difficult doesn't mean it's you can't push through it. And I
Yeah.
think that's when you have to say, okay, you have to set goals. Even though, yeah, you have a disease that's advanced prostate cancer, that's going down the road of terminal. Doesn't mean it's there now, because there's still some options to use, but those options are destroying other body parts, right? But you have to stay positive, and you have to set goals in the future so that you can get there, um, you know, and be able to help others and help yourself to enjoy, have a quality of life. And I think that's where you can give up. You have to keep pushing. It's easier said than done, though.
Mhm.
Trust me. And that's why when you make friends, at the cancer center, you tend to want to talk to each other, because the emotions are there. You know what kind of emotions that somebody's going through. But it, everybody again has their own battles, but it's not a battle, it's a journey, and it's how far you can go in that journey. So you got to push as hard as you can. um, some days are more difficult than others, and the days that are difficult, that's when I go see you, and then the smile and everything else. And it just makes me take a break from always thinking about, what's next, what's coming next, what else in my body is going to be affected, how else am I going to be able to get through this. It gives me a break. And I think we all need breaks in life. We tend to go really fast, and we don't realize that, holy geez, we need to take some time for ourselves. And the worst thing is that you only get to think of that majority of the times when you fall sick or you get a disease or you get something. And then you realize that, holy geez, I should have taken some time to enjoy little things here and there, or enjoy life in a different way, and not always think of work, 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 because work is not your life. You go to work, yeah, but you need some money, you need to be able to afford nice things, but you need to be around for others and yourself to be able to enjoy. And I think that's what I keep reminding myself every single day is, how many more memories do I want to do? As many as I can. And if it means that some days I'll be in bed for 3, 4 days or a week, then I know that I'll have 1 or 2 good days, and I'll be able to do things with family and friends that I have difficulties on a regular basis to do, right? Um, so so yeah, it's been a journey. Um, the journey's not over. I mean, keep on plugging away, and lots to go, right? So
And the journey's far from over.
yeah, it's far from over.
There's a few things that when you were talking, it made me think. One, being an advocate for yourself, and I've got to see it through, like live it with you, how much of an advocate you are, whether it's you want to do a special scan and they don't have it in 7 days, so you drive all the way to Montreal straight to get and pay out of pocket for you to get
Yeah,
the results, or you need a specific result for something, and you call or go see them, and you show up. And for me, like I'm the type of person, I don't like confrontation, and I'm very I don't stand up for myself, and different things like that, and that's a struggle of mine. But and then I see you doing everything you can to better yourself, and it inspires me to be, you know what, if Rob can do it, why can't I? You know, and there's more, like, that's just not that, it's not just that one thing, but multiple, and I think, like, that's a very good message, to be an advocate for yourself no matter what you're going through. It doesn't even have to be with health or anything like that. It can be everyday life, right?
yeah. Oh no, it's definitely it's definitely difficult, and we go through life, and we all have speed bumps in the road
Mm.
that we have to deal with. And I think the biggest thing is those speed bumps. Um, you need to those speed bumps are there for a reason. They make you slow down a bit. So and then it gives you a chance to kind of look around and say, okay, ooh, I have a little something with my health, or I have something going on, or I have difficulties with my partner, or whatever it is. And then and then you find the solution, you slowly creep over the speed bump, and then you take off again.
Mm.
So that's how life is. Some speed bumps are a lot bigger than others. Some of them are those big, what do you call uh, those poles that come out of the ground and make you stop completely.
Oh
But then
yeah.
there's always a way around it. And I think that's the biggest thing is there's always a way around everything, or to come to terms with certain things. And I think that's the biggest thing.
Mm.
Um, it's it's uh, it's not easy. Sometimes you want to do something, and like you were saying, I mean, it's difficult to confront or advocate for yourself sometimes. But then you lean on somebody that can do it for you. I mean, it's the way to do it. You have to find a resource, and if you can't do the resource, then you have to get the tools. And I think through all kinds of things through my careers, I've gotten a bag of tools I can't carry anymore because it's just there's so many. But those tools are very helpful, and I've always asked questions. And I've always asked the I've always asked questions to make me better. It's like when you work, and they say, okay, well, well, why are you giving us all this information? It's like as if you want to give us your job. I said, no. I mean, I'm learning just as much from you as you're learning from me. Just like when I go and see you, Ryan, I learn a lot from you. Um, I'm not perfect. I don't know everything, but when I'm talking, I'm asking questions and I'm learning from you when you're learning from me. So that's how life is. We learn from each other.
And I think it's important to ask questions, right? And especially when you're talking about that example when it comes to work, giving people information, like educating each other, right? So that they can get better and you can get better as well. And it's a mutual thing, right?
Yeah,
And the more that they know, the easier it makes your job too.
yeah. No, I think that's the biggest thing is not to be scared to let somebody learn what you've learned. I
Mm,
mean, they're looking for just as much information to be able to accomplish and get somewhere in the future.
yeah.
And when you're sure of yourself or you have security and you believe that you can get to where you want to get, you can give everybody that information and even if they surpass you, that's okay because you're helping others. And by that you're helping yourself. And I
Mm.
think that's important.
It's like lifting each other up instead of bringing them down, you know?
Yeah. Oh
Because
yeah.
there's a lot of people in that specific situation. They would be like they're just in it for themselves, right? Like, oh, they have all this knowledge they don't want to share with anyone else because they think that if they share their knowledge, then other people are going to surpass them. But I think the mentality is like share your knowledge, help people, because
Yeah.
the more we can help people, the more they can help you. And like if we can help each
Good.
other a little bit more, it makes the world such a better place.
Yeah. And then surpassing you, it's okay. People are going to surpass you. Uh, people are going to be all over the place. And if you can be, and again, if somebody surpasses you, the positive of that is you were able to be instrumental to his learning and gaining his more knowledge
Hmm.
and giving him that opportunity to surpass you or be beside you or whatever. And I think you have to be comfortable with yourself to be able to accept that. And
Yeah.
I think that's sometimes,
And be happy for them too, right?
yeah, absolutely.
And I think when we're talking about helping and having the right people around you
Yeah,
and kind of transitioning, but with Joanne, with like having her by your side, I don't think you'd be the person you are today. And I every time you guys come, and I don't know if you guys realize, but I always ask like a question, like I always say, like I ask questions about like early in your marriage because you guys been together for so long, but like having a partner like it's so cool because what's really special when you said like, yeah, I'm going through cancer and a hard time, but she's going it through it too,
yeah,
in a different aspect and in different
yeah.
lens, but like she loves you so much that like she's going through the trenches with you, so to say. And I
She's
think
in the trenches.
I think that's what the partner, a life partner, is all about, right? Through thick and thin, and no matter what, ride or die. And I think like seeing your relationship firsthand, how much love and respect and the life you build together, it's truly, truly, truly special.
You know what? And I think the biggest thing in that is that we have gone through so much together, but we take it as a stepping stone. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, we all have ups and downs in our marriages and stuff, but we continue to fight because we're a team and we're always going to be a team. But that's how you have to see it. And sometimes giving up just seems like the easy thing to do. It's 10 times harder to go and fight and continue pushing through it with your partner. But when you get through it, it feels great.
Yeah.
So
And
I'll tell you, if it wasn't for her, man, I don't know.
like you probably wouldn't, to be honest, you probably wouldn't be here. It's weird to
No,
say, but
no, I wouldn't. She is instrumental in my life, my decisions, and she's been there by my side, and she's never deviated or veered off or um, yeah, it's been interesting.
and I think like when you say like you never want to give up, but and you guys fight 10 times as hard, but like that's the whole thing. You don't give up on each other. Like no matter what, if you have a partner, like you don't give up on them, because if you give up on them, you give up on yourself.
I think the goal is not to give up. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to give up. Um, and do you sit there and think sometimes to give up? Maybe, but you always have to push through it. And I
Yeah.
think the giving up portion is because you're tired, you're not feeling good, you got so many things going on from everywhere. And that's where the partner comes in. The
Mm-hmm.
partner kind of sets you back into your groove or sets you back on the railroad track to keep on going, right? And
Oh,
I
for
and I
sure.
think yeah, and that's what we do to each other. We help each other get back on track when we feel we're deviating. And that's what friendships are, and that's what partners are, and I think that's really really important.
And I think that's such like a good mindset to have. Is like never give up no matter what. And I think having the like there for one another, and not just for with Joanne, for your kids and like the people around you that you love, and to show that they keep going no matter what. And every day we're able to wake up, and if we got air in our lungs and we got a heartbeat, we're still alive. We're still alive for another day, right? And
Yeah,
it's a gift. It's a privilege. And I know it sounds cheesy, but they always say like the reason why they call it the present moment is because it's a gift. And
yeah,
we kind of always like I know I take it for granted. Oh, I'll just do it tomorrow, or I'll do another task tomorrow, or like. But what if tomorrow never comes? You never know, right?
you never
Uh,
know what.
I
Always don't put off tomorrow what you can do today.
yeah.
Spend as much time with your family. You don't give up on your family. You're there for your family. I have two sons, and they all have their own journeys, and but I'm glad I'm able to be there for them. Um, sometimes as a parent, you can be too much because they got to learn on their own.
Yeah.
But very proud of both of them where they're at, and they've turned it around, and they come and help me, and they're there by my side, and when I need them. And I think that's really important, and I think that comes back to the values you teach your children and the values you learn from your parents, and whoever. It doesn't have to be a parent that taught you those values. It could be a foster parent, could be anybody, and you
Mhm.
learn those things, and then you pass them on to your kids, and you hope that those values that you've learned and you've gotten when you were young will assist them in the future too, right? And
And,
that's for everybody.
I'm not a dad, and but I think the coolest thing is to be able to like watch your kids grow and like give them values and help them through their journey to be who they are today, right?
And again, it's not our journey as a parent; it's their journey as a kid. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and I can confess, sometimes I want to be in that journey with them to be able to fend whatever comes along. But it's not my journey; it's their journey, and
Mm-hmm.
it'd be unfair for me to take that away from them and that learning from them. So I think um, now that I'm ill and I'm not putting out fires all the time, I'm giving them a chance to do what they got to do. Sometimes it's difficult, but I mean, hey man, we're parents, and I mean you have parents, and they've been there for you, and that's what we do. Family is really really important. I think it's probably one of the most important things in life is family is always going to be there. So
And now as they're growing older, they can be there for you too, which is
oh
amazing.
yeah, oh it's great. It feels good. When they come over and they spend time with me, it feels good. But they got stuff in their lives too. So sometimes, they want to do different things. But when they do spend quality time with mom and dad, it feels awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what it's all about, right? Those little moments and
Yeah.
stuff that we take for granted. And when you're circling back to what you said a little bit earlier, is like when you turned ill, you realize that that Work is just gonna be work. You gotta live your life to the best of your abilities, and it's
Yeah,
weird that when you were saying that it's a little odd that you had to realize that when you got big because you got ill, but that's like the positive out of a negative situation.
yeah,
And I think those little moments with your kids when they come to visit, or seeing them go like live their journey,
yeah.
and watching them thrive and do good things. I think that's what it's all about too.
It is. It is. And I mean, work notwithstanding, I mean, work gives us a source of income. It gives us a source of value that we want. We want to be appreciated.
Hmm.
And I think when you go to work and you're appreciated, and you're treated well and you're respected, and you do the same for the employees and everyone else, it makes a great work environment. So sometimes some work environments are not the best, or they might be poison, or it might affect you a certain way. Then you go and do something that you want to do and you're going to be happy at doing. Because every single career that I was doing, I was happy doing. I didn't regret anything. I haven't regret anything about my past. I haven't regretted anything, because for me, everything was a positive step forward. Even though there might have been incidents or trauma, or I've always pushed my way through it. But you can only take so much trauma and stuff, so that's
Hmm.
that's really important. So
And I think you like pushing through it, going from job to job. At the time, you might not have realized it, but now where you are today, you realize like, yeah, I went through this and this and this and this, and it allowed me to do this and do this and do this. If it wasn't for this situation, I wouldn't have got this, or if it wasn't
yeah,
for that, I would have not maybe been a police officer, or I would have not maybe been the head of security at the mine. Like
yeah,
those little moments that we might think that it gives us a redirection into something bigger and better.
yeah. I think my one of my favorite employments was the military. I could tell you that I learned so much in the military in the span that I was in it, that it made me reflect on what I wanted to do, what were my goals, how far do I want to go, right? And you know, you learn what being there for somebody really means, and I think that's the important part. So I learned so much stuff in my life, in my careers, at home with my family, my friends. Um, but I mean, I find that now is probably one of the toughest times, because I'm reclusive. I'm not doing as much outside of the house. I can't physically, but I try. And when
Yeah.
I do, I try to be very positive, because I need that energy. So when I do go and see you in the store, it's to get energy from you and steal it from you.
I'll let you steal all of it.
Not stealing, sorry, borrowing it from you.
I'll share it.
Yeah,
But even like your physical, like trying to do um, like do things physically all the time, and trying to do the best you can, right? Like even where we laugh about it when you came to the store the other day, but buying a scooter, the
yeah,
one, and it might sound funny to people like that. You have a hard time standing up, but like doing those little things. And I love what you said, like to Joanne, because Joanne's totally against this scooter.
if I can get up the street and come back, I can't walk up the street. But if I can get there some way, shape, or form
Yeah,
safely, then I'm good, right?
but like the
I
thing
mean,
too, like
I think what their family wants, they want to bubble wrap you and think that, but you have to. Like, I have my cane, I have my walker, I use those things, and I need them. I have a chair to come upstairs, and but I'm not scared to use them, and I use them because they're there for me, and they're there to make sure that I'm going to be there next month or the month after to go and see you at the store, right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Or be
Mhm.
there for you when you need somebody. So I think it's putting the pride aside sometimes, and remembering that you need to take care of yourself, and no matter
Mhm.
what you need, and no matter what everybody else thinks, it's not important. It's how
Right.
you feel. Yeah.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes swallowing your pride is very very hard to do. Like even with me, like,
Yep.
I'm different than everyone else, and I don't see everyone in a wheelchair. And when I was younger, it would really bother me. Like I can't play like hockey with the boys, or I can't like. I remember in high school, I wanted to because they didn't have enough players for the high school soccer team. I'm like, Mom, I'll just go my walker, and it's like, right, you can't you can't do that. Like you would get
But
killed.
you
And
had the idea.
yeah,
Like,
but and it really bothered me. But like now, I have the mentality of yeah, I'm different, but like I could be a lot worse than what I am, and there's so many people that are worse in worse situations than I am, and I'm grateful to be how I am. I'm able to go to the gym every day and try to get better and try to get stronger,
yeah,
and I think doing what I can and utilizing the tools like my electric wheelchair, like you do.
yeah,
It allows me to be independent, or I have a walker at the gym. I'm able to get out of my chair
yeah,
and stretch and walk and try to get the blood going and try to get better and
yeah,
more mobile. And it allows me to be independent too, right? And
yeah,
stronger. And I always say like less disabled in a weird way, but
yeah,
I think that's how you have to look at it. Like you and I, we can mope around and say like, "Oh, why me?" But we have the mentality to say, "Why not me?" It's
yeah,
given to me because we can handle it, right? Not
yeah,
everyone can handle what you're going through, like the ups and downs
yeah.
and the fluctuations and everything. And even with the scooter example, like Joanne said, like, and I remember you telling her this story. Like, this is my life. I don't know how long I'm gonna be here for. I'm gonna enjoy it. You
Yeah. But I got to do it safely because I don't want to hurt myself
yeah.
before. Yeah.
You
So
you got a funny looking helmet. It's okay.
yeah, yeah. But I think you in your head, that's where your tools are. And those tools you have to use. So yeah, we're talking about your physical and my physical and other people's physical. And yeah, I do agree. But it plays up here.
Hmm.
But look at what you've accomplished. And I'm going to turn this back onto you now.
No, no, no.
Look what you've accomplished. You started in the mall, and then you went into a store, then you went into a bigger store. You're part of the community. Community loves you and loves your product and loves what it stands for. Like you achieved that. So yeah, maybe you can't run, play soccer, or do something, but what you've accomplished, you did it with your mind. So you still accomplished the things that you should have accomplished, and you're doing it now, but you're
Mhm.
doing it a different way. So
Yeah,
maybe you're not playing soccer and you're not winning gold medals, but you have an amazing company and you have something to bring positivity to the community, and that's what people strive for. And you're that person, and you did that on your own. Nobody you did that. That's what you wanted. You were driven. So the driven, you used your energy and your values and you pushed yourself to where you're at now. I think that's really important.
thank you so much. But but I think what you said I did it on my own, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I know what you meant, but like I have someone like my parents or
Oh, your family, your friends, your brother, your I mean, I get that.
it takes a village to do something
Yeah,
very very special, and I wouldn't be where I am without the amazing support system
yeah,
that I have, and so many of my buddies, and even growing up in elementary school, high school, university, like all my buddies, a majority of my really, really, really close friends are my
yeah,
elementary school buddies, my high school buddies, and like it takes a village to do something truly special, and like I probably say this every single every single podcast, but like I take a little bit of them in me, and I think that's what makes it so special. Like, and even with you, when I think about you, like what you go through and your personality and your perspective and your positivity, and like there's there's so many reasons why you could quit, but you don't, and
no,
you show up every day with a smile on your face, no matter if you feel like shit, No matter
Yeah.
how you feel, you show up, and you don't give up. And that's what it's all about. Is squeezing out every single ounce of life, and having
Yeah.
that perspective. Like if you can do what you're doing, and people should look at that and say like I'm perfectly fine. What's my issue? You know.
Yeah. But I think we gotta understand that there's so many things. Like um I find that now we're finally realizing that the mental side of things is just as bad as having a physical disability. Mental disabilities are just, there's something that has to be recognized, or people have to take a step back when they say, "Oh, well, you look fine. You're not," take a step back and maybe ask a few more questions and kind of get that. And I think a lot of people don't do that. And I mean, you battle in your head every day. I battle in my head every day. Everybody does. And some battles are harder than others, and it's to recognize, and don't be scared to ask people, how you feeling, and if they're down, they've been down for a few weeks, and say, hey, like, are you okay? Like, do you need help? Do you feel like hurting yourself? Don't be scared to ask that question. People are so
Mhm.
scared to ask those questions. Maybe they're scared to hear the answer, and I think that's a lot of people don't know what to do is to say, oh, that person's not feeling good, but what do we do, right? And I think we push ourselves. You've learned that with the support and values taught to you by your family, your parents, your grandparents, everybody. Like you had that, and you still have it. They're there. They're there
Mhm.
for you. That's what family is all about. And I think we're lucky, and some people aren't as lucky. But if we could help some of those individuals out too, it would be great, right?
And I think like what you touched on is like if you ask the questions like, "Are you feeling okay? Or is something wrong?" Like, and if someone tells you like what's actually going on, like I think like you might be shocked at first, but they tell you that because they trust you,
Yeah,
and sometimes you need someone to talk to about it, and say, and when people tell you hard information, don't don't I think don't be scared, right? Like be honored that they're telling you this, and take a moment and reflect and share your thoughts and see like get out of your own head and try to think and try to like feel kind of what they're feeling and try to help them out because you never know what a small gesture or a small positive comment within that direction could do to someone.
yeah. And you can't. How do I say that? You can't. Don't put blinders on. Treat people the way you want to be treated. If you see they're having a problem, then just ask. And it
Mhm.
might make it might make everything. It might be their whole entire day. You might have made them their month because you asked the question and nobody's paid attention to them. When my wife gets up every morning, how you feeling? Not sure yet. I need to get up. And then she'll ask me the same question a little bit later. And some days it's like, I need to go back to bed, or I have problems walking today, or, but she asked. I asked her the same thing. I asked everyone in that question. I even asked my psychologist that question. How are you doing today? Like he's asking me, I need the help. I'm taking stuff off my shoulders, but I'm gonna ask that question. And I ask that question to everybody. And I'm not scared to ask it because
Uh,
it's important.
yeah, but I think like I, for like if for example at the store someone walks in, like I say like, hey, how's it going today? And then they don't say anything, or they're like, I'm looking for so and so, and then I don't answer. I say, how you doing today? And then they catch themselves. Like like they say like, oh, I'm looking for this T-shirt, and then I don't answer. I say, how you doing today? And then say, oh, like good or whatever, and then
Yeah,
I go help them do whatever. But like I want to make sure like because you ask questions and people don't even expect it sometimes,
yeah,
which is weird to me.
yeah. The interaction, that verbal communication, is probably one of the best gifts that we've ever had, and we can't lose it. You look at cell phones, you look at these things here. These things are deadly. because people are texting and texting and texting. They're not talking to each other. And you know, I find better to go and have a conversation with somebody face to face. I have trouble, you know, in all the places I work, you get emails and they expect you to reply. I'd rather go and see them in person to have the reply and then come back and write them an email and say, hey, as per our discussion, you know,
Yeah.
it makes the interaction valid, and it's important to have those conversations with people. That's the thing, people forget that.
And I feel like that's like not. I want to say this in the most best way, but like it's like very old school. I find not
Yeah.
not saying that you're like extremely old, but like how do you think that we can get back to that? Because I think that's the way to do it. Like
Yeah.
be face to face and get off your phones and get out of your own head and have that communication skill. Like I see kids, they come in all the time. I try to talk to them and they're on their phone. It's like, oh, okay, you know.
I taught at one of I did that also. I taught at one of the colleges here in Sudbury, and I was teaching police communications, and that's the first thing is, okay, guys, put your cell phones here on the desk. Here's a notebook and a pad of paper or a notebook and a pen or a pencil, and write your notes. And then, you know, you bring them out to do different things at Christmas time and say, here, I'm going to give you all $5. Go find somebody that's seasoned. I don't call them old. I call them seasoned. Because a lot of people have they're seasoned. Their knowledge is there, right? And go buy them a coffee. And a lot of people had difficulties communicating with the elders or whoever. And I think that's where we got to go back to, that the hands-on communication. It's nice to send a text to somebody, but it's a better to have, you can get the tone of voice, you can look at them and see what kind of reaction you're getting. You know, when you're in front of a person, it's completely different.
Mhm.
And it makes for a better interaction, because you can send a text, and you could perceive that text to be a good or a bad one. But when you're in person, you know where you stand.
Mhm.
There's no guessing. And I think that's where we don't have to go back to it. We just have to remember it's there and use it,
Yeah.
you know, with the cell phones and stuff, and use the interaction. Or I used to get emails at work. I used to take the emails, I used to read them, and then I know they want to reply, but I'd
Mhm.
go and see them and say, hey, you sent me an email today, let's have that discussion. And then you have the discussion, and it's a different outcome of how you would have sent it if it was a text, like an email or a text. Yeah. And then you go home, or you go back to work into your office, and then you send them a message, hey, as per our discussion, that was great, and here's the outcome. That correspondence is 100 times better by having that interaction before than just reading an email. And you know how people like to write in big blocks or small blocks or whatever. And I'm old school, so big font for me is not just like somebody yelling at me, but that's what supposedly it is. But
Yeah.
I mean, I just send small emails. Hey, you available to talk? And I'll go down and see them, or I'll call them on the phone. At least have a conversation with them. And I
Mhm.
think people are getting away from that, and that's what's difficult. Um, I'd rather talk to a person than a machine,
Okay.
and still have that conversation. And I think we need uh, to have those interactions. And going into your store, and when you were talking about earlier on and saying, hey, how are you doing today? I remember going into your store the first time, and you asked me that question about 6 times before I answered. I just got out of an operation, and then you asked me, and I'm like, who's asking me that question? And then I realized it was you. And it changed my whole perspective of being there, because you were able to reach in and get something from me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important part. And that's what communication does. It gets you to open up. And I think that's important.
And two things I want to touch on this is one, I think when people come to my store, I want them to feel comfortable, you know,
Yeah.
and I can tell right away if people want to talk, if they don't want to talk. Like they come in and like, hey, how's it going today? Good. And then they say like, oh, Uh, are you looking for anything in specific? No. Are you looking for like a T-shirt or a sweater? Oh, I don't know. It's like clearly they don't want to talk, and that's fine. And then I let them shop and do whatever, and then if they find something great, if not, then hey, have a good day, and then you can
I
tell
can.
people are definitely, and then some people are that happens, and we have an hour conversation, but like you just gotta judge it, and that's totally okay. People are different, and that's fine.
How many, so here's a question I'm going to ask you. How many pictures do you have on your phone of clients that come in and buy something and you've managed to reach and connect with them? And then suddenly next thing you know, you're taking a picture with them. And it's
Yeah.
amazing. And it's amazing because that's because they sit there and say, hey, he made a difference in my life today. And you have it on record. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's true. And the second part of it, there was an older gentleman, and he's like probably in his 80s or so, and his wife passed away a few years ago, but he came, and that's how I kind of got to know him. But but so over the years, I've known him, and now he's dating again, and he's got a few girls on the go, and
Hey,
so, and,
yeah.
and so he's texting these girls are older, like his age, but he's texting all in caps. He's like, Ryan, I got in trouble because the girl thought I was mad at her, and she lost it on me because I texted all in caps. But I didn't. But he's like, I didn't know any difference. So like now I don't know. Now that girl wants nothing to do with me. I'm like,
Yeah. But that's the thing with texting, right? You don't get emotion, you don't get anything from a text. You get basic communication that either can be perceived whichever way somebody wants,
yeah, I
depending
felt.
if you're in a good mood or a bad mood, right?
And he's like, I didn't mean anything by it. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was just texting in caps, and she thought I was mad at her, and I just ruined everything. And there's so much drama, this and that, and that. Because this guy's in his 80s. So what are you doing?
But
Just
but he's
having
having
fun.
fun. And
Yeah.
but he has to learn the new way of doing things because things have changed so much. I mean, I remember in high school, we had three channels on television. We'd go outside and play. We didn't have Nintendos and tablets, and we had nothing, like nothing. We would play from cabin to cabin and put a string between two cans and listen to each other, and we found it funny. And now we have cell phones that we can basically spend time video chatting for hours. Like it
It's
doesn't.
it's crazy. Like one
Yeah,
extreme to the can with the string to a cell phone. Like
yeah,
that's wild. I think I remember doing that as a kid too.
yeah.
I don't remember if it worked well or not. I remember there was one time where
Not
it
not
was
the
like
best.
paper cups, and it
Yeah,
was like I don't know if it worked because you just heard them because they were yelling really loud or what. But
probably because
yeah,
the rope wasn't very long.
it's just but you totally like you think of that stuff, right? And that's what being a kid is all about, remembering the funny times and how different it was. But ultimately, it kind of allows you to be who you are today, right? And
Yeah,
little moments like that, it makes you think of times growing up and spending time with the people that kind of made you who you are today.
yeah. And I think one thing I have to mention, and it's really important to me, is that if you're involved in an incident or traumatic incident or something that you're not sure of, reach out for help right away.
Hmm.
I did things the wrong way and waited and waited and waited and tried to put it aside, and it's like having a closet or a little, those toys you used to have and they used to pop up.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm very very jumpy, so I hated those.
yeah. But
Yeah.
you put trauma issues, incidents, and all stuff in one of those, and eventually when you're turning that wheel, eventually it pops out. Well, you got to deal with that. And I think if there's a lesson learned is that, you have to stay positive, but you also have to seek help when you need it.
Hmm.
So it's okay to be in a slump. It's okay to be down. It's okay to have a bad day, but know that tomorrow is going to be better. And if it's not, the day after will be better. Like eventually you'll get there, but you have to reach out and get help. And I think um, maybe it'd be a bit different if I would have reached out when I was a little bit younger. But again, pride, and not wanting to rock the boat, and it's a stigma,
Yeah.
and you got to break that stigma. Is when you have an issue, you deal with it right away, and then you move on. It's not an issue anymore. But when you let it fester and build up, it becomes a permanent one.
Mhm. And I think you mentioned it. A lot of times people are scared, right? Because there's a
Yeah,
stigma. Oh, like people say, oh, you have a glass head, like you can't handle it. Like, but there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's normal. Like we all
yeah,
go through stuff, and it can either be physically or mentally. And I think there's people that are always there to help, whether it's
yeah.
loved ones or professionals too. And I think there's nothing wrong with it. I think what's really wrong is when you do need help and you don't ask for it.
You're hurting yourself. You're not hurting
Mhm.
anybody else. You're hurting yourself. And I think if you can stop hurting yourself, that's a good thing.
But by hurting yourself, you indirectly hurt other people that really care
Yeah,
about you.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, it's for sure. I mean, it's it definitely wasn't easy for the last 35 years for my wife to be by my side, going through all kinds of stuff. And she had her own issues that she had to deal with. Um, but that's what it is if you can have somebody in your corner that's willing to be there for you, and you're willing to share your life together, and no matter through thick and thin, you work through it.
Mm.
That's the way to do it. And I think people have to really take a look at, if they choose to spend time with somebody and spend their life with somebody, then that's your partner. That's your wife or your husband or whoever that's going to be there for you. And that's the commitment you make, right? It's
And
like friendship, like friendship,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. And the cool thing about like a partnership or a friendship is like you guys met when you were young, but you guys grew together,
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
from when you guys got married to now, probably totally different people. But like,
Yeah, 360. 360 complete.
and you guys grew to love your new version of yourselves, right? And like,
Yep.
I think about that with who I am, like as a kid to a teenager to now. Like I'm totally different.
Yep.
But my parents still love me, like no matter what, unconditionally, no
Yep.
matter how I was, if I was in a bad mood or in a good mood. And it's like crazy to think about that. Even like my buddies that I've been friends with for my whole life, totally different people, but we like grew together and like I still love them and like my brothers too, and like
Yeah.
totally different people. We were raised by the same parents, totally different
Yeah.
personalities, and we're all doing our own thing. It's so like it's crazy but cool in the same way.
But when you have to lean on somebody, who do you lean on?
Yeah, all those people for sure.
Those are the ones to lean on. Your
Mm,
family's always going to be there for you through
yeah.
thick and thin.
And is that how like you like through all the stuff you're going through? Is that how you stay positive? That you lean on the people that are there for you?
Um, I think I think that the people that are there for me, I when I get down, I'll call a friend of mine, um, whichever. I mean, I have several French friends that have unconditional friendship. We can talk to each other today, and we might not talk for 3 years, but we'll have those discussions. And I think that having having positive conversations if I'm down, and
Hmm.
I'll tell them right from the get-go that I'm down and I'm having difficulties with the week. But the conversation usually turns into a very positive conversation. And I think that's what gets me out of my negative, you know, dilemma that I'm having in my head that's causing me to be off or not feeling good or cranky or short or um and I think that's the important part, is to try to find a way to get away from those bad moments, or those moments where you you're searching and you can't find anything. And I think that's when you reach out to family or friends or people that you care about. Um, they're there to help you, and indirectly, that's what I reach out. So when I'm having a bad day, I'm going to your store because I know that when I leave, I'll have a better day because of being around you and having those conversations. Even though it might be a negative conversation, the fact that I'm sharing with you is a positive. It's positive because
Mhm.
I'm actually sharing it, and you're willing to listen, right? So
Always.
you're like the barber, you know.
But I think it's important to take a caring to other people.
Yeah.
Like life's not about ourselves.
No.
I think life is about the people that we love around us and making sure that they're okay. And I love listening to people and being there for people. Like I find it like an honor that people want to share their life with me,
Mhm.
and it's super cool. I think not everyone is like that, and but I'm lucky that I think it's something that I've developed over the years for sure. I've not always been to this extent, but I think that's one of my favorite parts of having the store is getting to meet people. It's not just selling clothes, and it's about getting to know people and spreading that special feeling and making people a little bit more positive and realizing that they're perfect the way they are, realizing they're who they are, and be comfortable in their own skin. And I think if I can share that with this brand, it's much more than just clothing. It's a lifestyle. It's a perspective.
So you
Um,
know what you're doing then, right?
I'm trying, yeah,
You're planting the positive seed, my friend.
no pun
That's what it's
intended.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
That's what you do. You
well,
plant the seed. Like it's and that's what people love you. They
but
they that's what you do, right?
if I plant the seed, I hope that other people can plant that their own seed.
Oh,
Uh,
they will.
it's like a rippling effect, and
Yeah.
that's the whole goal with this whole thing is, yeah, it might start with me, but it's the idea of just keep it going and keep being the best version of yourself and uplift other people
Yeah. Oh,
and yeah, there's like sometimes I have a bad interaction with someone and so be it, but it's more than just that. It's about taking it, learning from all the experiences
yeah.
and promoting good in everything.
Hey, I'll give you the perfect example, and this is a concrete example. Is when I moved here when I was 6 years old, and moved away and came back. When I was 6 years old, I moved to Sudbury, and it was only rock. There was no trees anywhere. Didn't exist. Trees didn't exist. It's where the moon buggy was doing its training. Um, so with throughout the years, they planted seeds, and the population got bigger, and the city got bigger, and the city got more lively, and that's by planting a seed. You're doing it with people, and I think that's the important part, and that's why you're so important to this community. You're so important to your friends, your family, because you plant that seed, but always remember to take care of yourself. And I think
Mm.
that's what I've learned is to take care of myself. Um, I wish I could take care of myself in a different way and be able to be more physically capable of doing things, but I can't. But I push myself,
You
and
will,
sometimes
we'll get there.
I regret it, but I push through it anyway. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and as long as you're pushing forward, right, in a positive way,
Always, never going
not,
backwards.
not go backwards.
No, no. It's easy to go backwards. Sometimes you just feel like, I'll take a few step back, and then you're like, nope, nope, not doing it.
But
Or
if you take a few steps back, then it might be easier today, but it'll make tomorrow harder, right?
you got it. That's why you
And
got to stay right on that edge.
you gotta keep it going, baby.
You got it.
But uh, is that like something that you kind of live with every day? Is like not give up and keep it going and keep improving and like I think that's kind of what you're kind of, when I think of you, that's no matter what, you always keep going. You're always positive. You're never giving up.
It's it gets hard sometimes. It gets really, really overwhelming. And when you have things coming in every direction and hitting you, it gets really difficult. But when you push through it
Mhm.
and you change the outcome to a positive one, even though it's not the solution, makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
It
and I,
changes it changes how you feel. It changes how your interactions are going to be. Like, like some days I'm down, I don't want to talk, and I just show up at the store, or I spend some time with my wife, and we just sit there and talk, and it's uplifting. It changes my perspective. So I could be down and having a really bad morning, and then suddenly it's like, oh, hold on, the sun's out, gotta go,
when's that
gotta
guns
go.
out, baby?
Yeah, I gotta go to the window. I look, but yeah, no, I think we all have our struggles. Nobody has, everybody has their struggles. So nobody can really say, oh, it's worse than me or it's not. We all have our struggles. To deal with our struggles ourselves and go through, a journey with somebody or a group of people makes it a lot easier. Doing it by yourself sometimes is tough, and you got to reach out. You got to
Yeah,
grab somebody. Um,
I'm happy that you mentioned that like it's important to reach out if you're going through a hard time,
yeah,
and telling that to people. I don't think you can say it enough, right? And it's really, really important. I think everyone's life is so precious, and
yeah,
I think realizing that is so important. And we're on this earth for a reason, and we
yeah,
live every day to kind of get better, right? And that's what you try to promote on a day-to-day basis. No matter what, we're still alive. We're able to
yeah,
wake up. We're able to find another day and find solutions instead of problems, and just
yeah.
to be the best version of yourself, and squeeze every little ounce of life that we possibly can.
You got it. Yeah, that's the only way to do it. Sometimes it gets cloudy and it's raining, but you got to push through and see that sun. So
But you know what, Rob? I say this to people all the time, and everyone laughs and they say like, "Oh, it's rainy today, or whatever." But like, what do you mean? Like you are the sunshine, and then they laugh or they smile. But like everyone is sunshine on a cloudy day. Like you have to be your own. You have to make your own sunshine sometimes, right?
yeah, oh yeah. Or you say, hey, there's clouds outside and it's raining, but you know the sun's above it,
Yeah.
so it's still
Or
there.
or if you're having a crappy day, the sun's gonna come up tomorrow.
You got it.
And sometimes like something happens, you're like, like be grateful for today, but hopefully, hopefully tomorrow's better for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll tell you. Um, life shoots you and throws you in different directions and throws all kinds of grenades and rocket launchers in your direction, but you just gotta keep picking up and going. And if you have to depend on others to help you, then so be it.
and
Um, Swallow the pride and take the help and deal with it. And that's what I've been doing. So it's kind of nice that way.
and it's not about what happens to you; it's about what happens to you and how you handle it, right?
Yep.
And 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 I think we've talked about this a lot, but I think it's about your perspective, and I think the way you handle your everyday life, no one else can do it but you, and I think
Yep.
you're doing the best job that you possibly can, and that's all you can ask for. And you give yourself a chance to win every single day,
Yep.
and that's what it's all about. We play the game of life every day, and every day we have the opportunity to win it, right? And you're crushing it right now, and I couldn't be happier for you. And
Trying
um,
the hardest as we can, and
yeah,
that's the day. And
exactly.
and, and they say it one day at a time.
Mhm. And it's like the most simplest thing, but it is so true, right? Even
Yeah.
your son Pat wrote that on Facebook a couple of
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
one day at a time, right? And
One day at a time.
it's so true, and it's like
Yeah.
it's something we kind of forget about, but uh, if we try to do the best that we can every day, it might seem very, very small, but if we do that consistently every single day, all the small things, and it adds up to something massive.
Yep. Oh, I agree with you. And we all have our battles, and I think if we can kind of get something positive out of every day, and you build it up, build it up, build it up, then you have a huge feeling of I've accomplished something, right?
Yeah.
So
And you've accomplished so much so far, and you will continue to accomplish so much more. And I think this is the perfect way to end it. But what you're doing and what you've done in your life is nothing short of remarkable. And I'm just so grateful to have a friend like you to look up to a tremendous amount, and a friend like you to always have on my side, and a friend uh, like you to be in my life to make me a better person. And I wouldn't be who I am without you. So I appreciate you very, very much.
and I
And
wouldn't be who I am without you either.
uh,
So I look up to you also. So hey, that's the way it's going. It's being positive, and you're like my sunshine on a bad day. I just go in and see you and you're smiling, and that's my sunshine.
I appreciate that, buddy. Likewise, and it'll be like that for many, many years to come.
Keep on pushing, day at
You
a
too.
time. We'll get her.
We will for sure.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. And part two is coming in the future.
Oh yeah, we have to do it in the store.
You got it. All right. You take care of yourself.
You too.
Have a good day. Love you, brother.
Love you too, bud.